Hello!
Hi!
And welcome to another Bunny and Teddy travel series.
Yes.
And in this one we have travelled and visited two of the Mascarene Islands in the Indian Ocean. And with it being the opening video of the series, we are looking back on how we actually came to be there in the first place and tell you all about our travel day on how we got there.
Where did we go and why did we go?
Yes, well, which two islands did we visit, Bun?
We went to my island, Mauritius, where I was born, and Rodrigues.
And the main reason really was because it was Bunny's mum's 80th birthday.
Yes.
On the 20th of June, which was shortly after we got there, really, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then the next one, because of Rodrigues, it was partly in celebration of our 20th anniversary.
Wedding anniversary, the church one.
Yes, the
20
church
years.
one. Well, it was a church blessing, really. It was, but it was more like a wedding because of this one wearing white and all that.
It was my wedding.
Yes, I had the registry office. You had the church blessing.
That's it.
Because she's more religious. Booking the holiday. Now you went back to there in 2021, didn't you? For a bit of a family business.
Family business, yes.
Yeah, very much a major trip for that. And the thing is though, you went by Turkish Airlines, didn't you?
I did. I got a good deal with them and I loved it. Really, really liked it. The staff, plane, the whole experience was really good. Really enjoyed it.
Can you remember what sort of plane it was?
I believe it was similar, a smaller plane to go Birmingham to Istanbul, and then Istanbul to Mauritius. I can't remember top of my head, but it was of course a bigger plane to go to Mauritius
itself,
Istanbul to Mauritius. But it was the whole traveling experience with them was relaxing. The food was nice. In a way, you don't have as much probably choice than other on other airlines, but it's adequate. It's quite simple but really nice.
And she enjoyed it so much that you wanted me to experience the same sort of thing on our journey together.
And for us, living in the East Midlands, I don't know whether it's a matter of we are not as young in a way. You know, when I say not as young, we're finding it difficult to, mainly if we go back home to Mauritius. Long whole flight are becoming more and more a bit of a
strain.
Yes, I wouldn't say stress, but strain. When you live on the island of Mauritius, if you've got to travel to Europe, from wherever you are on the island, in the south of the island, not even 30 minutes, 15 minutes you are at the airport. Wherever you are on the island, maximum, I guess it's an hour, maybe if you are in the north, a bit longer, but then with new roads being built, you are really at the most an hour and a half, I would say. This is nothing for us. If we've got to go to the big ones, I mean Gatwick is the furthest to us. Whether you are Gatwick, Stansted, Luton and Gatwick. Luton, it's an hour and a half to an hour 3/4, right? But they don't do a long haul flight to Mauritius. Then the next one is Heathrow. A couple of hours, probably a bit more, depending what time is your flight, whether you're going to be in traffic. Before you start, don't forget Mauritius, on a direct flight to Mauritius from Gatwick, it's 11 and a half to 12 hours. So before you start traveling, before you do your 12 hours, you've already done 3 hours of traveling in the car. Then you've got to be sort of 2.5 to 3 hours before that. That's your 5 hours. So it's a long journey. It's really a long journey. We try our best, not always possible, but we try to start our journey from Birmingham, which is an hour from home to so it's an airport that is not as big as as Heathrow and Gatwick. Quite manageable, quite easy, I would say, to go round, and I like it. Okay, so for long haul we try to fly from Birmingham now, but that means that there is no direct flight. That's the only, I would say, disadvantage, but for me advantage, because of my problem of my foot. I get to walk, come off the plane and then have a little walk and have a coffee or a drink, and then you start again. Normally it's about 2 hours you stay in the airport, approximately.
Well, it depends on where you're transitioning through. We've done it with Dubai,
so
which is a nightmare, because you land there about 2 in the morning. We probably won't do that again, will we?
No, but we might do another video on which airport do we like the most, and we think it's a nice airport, and for the well-being, for everything else. One of the reasons, I'm not saying I won't travel through Dubai ever, it's just that I don't really like the airport for certain reasons. We'll go, this is not the point in that video, but what I'm saying is basically, I want to get to experience Turkish Airlines, and they fly from Birmingham to Istanbul, Istanbul to Mauritius.
Yes.
So,
and the price from Birmingham to Mauritius was about 1,650 return for the both of us. Because of Bunny's experience, she wanted me to do it as well, so the price might have been a little more expensive, would it be, than say Air Mauritius or such like?
No, about the same.
Is it? Oh, right.
But then you've got to take into consideration the travelling to Gatwick, which is a good 60 quid in petrol going and coming back, approximately.
We'll go into the travelling bit.
You've got to count then the parking of the car for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's all logistics, really.
Yes, all the hidden costs. It's not just, it's cheap, we can go. It's not like that. You've got to count your food, everything that goes around. So anyway,
we've got an American Express account between the two of us, and we had accumulated a lot of points, and I mean, more or less 90,000, I think it more or less was.
Yes, I think so.
But we were going to use that for something else. But we didn't know when that something else was going to come along, so we used them up to knock down this flight with Turkish Airlines from 1,650 to 1,250 or thereabouts. So they came in quite useful to knock it down as far as the flights were concerned.
So when you think it's basically 625 each?
Yeah.
625, which is for a long haul.
You're not going to get that price with any airline unless you've got a lot of points to play with.
Yes, and you were entering the holiday time as well, June, July, August. You're going to pay the...
Mind you, it's their winter, so you'll find that out as the series goes on. But next, we wanted to find ourselves somewhere that was close to the family home, and that was big enough for the both of us.
Accommodation, yes.
And obviously the birthday party of Mother, we were supposed to be involved in prep work on that, so we needed somewhere really fancy.
On this occasion, it wouldn't have worked for us being on the coast, having a coastal, as we say, campement or flat, or we didn't want either to stay in a hotel because financially wasn't possible. We really wanted to, as Ted mentioned, we wanted to be close to the family and having elderly parents. Mum was turning 80, her biological dad is in his 90s, and when you're on the coast, you've got to travel back into the town. We didn't want all that.
No, it's quite driving around Mauritius is quite an awkward thing.
It's challenging now.
Because the roads are very narrow, the normal street roads, the main roads are busy. The little roads, like any street round England, you'd expect pavements, for example. We haven't got any pavements in Mauritius. No. So there's all that sort of thing. It's a bit, we wanted to be really close.
Yes.
So I went on booking.com like I normally do when it comes to accommodation searching, and we came up with the perfect solution in Home Sweet Home. It was quite literally a stone's throw from the family home, quite literally around the corner.
Round the corner, yeah.
It had everything, as you said, it had all the facilities there.
Clean.
But you'll get a full tour of the place in the next video.
The lady as well was really nice with whom we...
Yeah, the host, it was more like, because the bunny thought I was doing it through Airbnb. In a way, it was similar sort of thing to that, wasn't it? In the way we communicated with the host and all this sort of thing. But no, Booking.com has that sort of accommodation on their platform. All these apartments that are privately hosted, just like an Airbnb situation. Part of the adventure though was to find another place that was capable of giving us a little breakaway on the island of Rodrigues, and it had to be in a location where we could explore a bit, and particularly the capital of
Mascarene. I wanted Ted to discover this little island because there are plans to extend the runway. With this in mind, it means more traffic, air traffic. It means it's going to be busier, more hotels. It's going to create jobs for the people, local people. All that in a good way. But I just hope there will be a sort of development that is sustainable. A bit like Seychelles, I guess, on certain areas, protected areas and all that. I'm hoping. I wanted Ted to embrace, have a feel of the authenticity of the island before
it goes pear-shaped and commercial. So we went back to Booking.com again, but this time it wasn't so much the accommodation, but also coupled with it a flight from Mauritius to Rodrigues. And Booking.com did not disappoint again. So we found Villa Paradise, which is in the little area of Baladiru.
It's not far from Mascarene, providing you do it by car. It's 10 minutes. But if you do it by bus like we did, that's another. But it's nice.
We'll tell you about that.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, we may have a couple of videos on there. Certainly the accommodation and the island itself. Oh yeah, it was fantastic. A little place. So the price was about $5.30 for flight and accommodation, and it was on a half board basis as well. Also, an added bonus which we found out later on through communique with the Villa Paradise place, they also pick you up from the airport, so the transfers were included as well. We haven't said hotel with Villa Paradise because it's not. I don't know what sort of accommodation you could really describe it as. It's not really a hotel, is it? It's a bunch of villas with a restaurant attached, which you can probably...
it's not villas. It's called villa, but then you have got rooms. It's a huge house. They've converted it into a villa. They've added rooms.
Yeah, they're adding rooms as we speak.
Yes.
Actually. But we'll show you all that, and the room tour, and the accommodation tour in a separate video again on the series. Now let's get back to travel day. First of all, we decided for the first time in our travel history to book a taxi from home to Birmingham Airport.
It was cheaper.
And it was a local firm. I don't know whether that had anything to do with it being cheap. Well, cheaper. So we shot off on the 18th of June.
At 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We thought it would be a good idea because of the amount of luggage and bags we were going to be taking with us. Obviously he would get you right up to the drop-off point outside of the terminal. Instead of us trying to lug it out of the car onto a bus, one of these transfer bus things, shuttle bus things.
It would have been difficult.
It would have been really logistically awkward.
Because this time, Turkish Airlines, they allow 223 kilos. Because we had 2 suitcases of 223 kilos, that's 4 suitcases. They were not big.
We didn't have that many.
We did, plus a hand luggage.
We hadn't got 2 suitcases, hadn't we?
Didn't we?
We had 2 large suitcases and 2 cabin bags. suitcases, if you like,
Oh yes.
plus
Sorry.
bags.
But it was
But
still
it's the Turkish Airline allowance. Tell them, Bun.
Yes, you get 223. You can actually take 2 huge suitcases, 223 kilos. Yeah, per person,
Yeah.
plus an 8-kilo hand luggage. So we ditched the 8-kilo hand luggage because so we took the little suitcase that we normally take for hand luggage and did send that with the 223 kilos. But imagine having all these bags and suitcases to wheel them to get onto the bus. It would have been a bit of a...
We'd have had to have had other passengers help us.
Yes, and they don't. The driver, you come, you load your suitcase onto the bus, and then off the bus would have been a struggle.
Is it me? I don't know if anybody else has noticed this travelling through Birmingham Airport, particularly in recent days, probably in the last year, because they're doing works at the airport, aren't they?
Yeah, it's to do with this liquid thing.
Oh yeah, it's to do with the new security
Liquid
thing to do with the liquids and stuff. But when you get to the terminal, there's a clear big sign saying departures, yeah?
Yeah.
When you go into there, on this occasion, every single desk was Jet2.
Jet2.
And we were looking obviously for Turkish Airlines. And the board tells you, or it told us on this occasion, that
You had to
it
go
was Zone
Zone
C.
C.
And Zone C is located on the other side of arrivals.
Yeah.
I don't know what other airlines were in that bit, but there's Zone C and
Was
D
it
on the other
2E
side.
on one side?
Can't remember, but anyway, ours was in there amongst all the others. And I'm thinking, well,
There were...
is there another sign for departures on the other side of arrivals? Because I didn't see it.
No, I didn't either.
So we had to walk all the way through Jet2, down the hill, if you like, down the ramp, past Costa, past everybody being greeted on arrival, to going through to the next check-in bit, which seemed a bit weird to me. I don't know whether it's me or what. The flight to Istanbul. Can't remember security.
Security was a bit long. There were queues because of works
this new
being done,
thing,
but
yeah.
fine. We sailed through it. It took a bit longer, but checking and boarding was fine.
Yeah, I can't remember anything there.
No, it was
So-
all good.
We went and got on board an A321 Neo
Yeah.
to Istanbul. It seemed a bit newish as well, didn't it, on the inside?
Yeah.
And it was a pleasant flight there.
Very pleasant flight.
And it's a 4-hour flight, or just over. Yeah, you had a light meal on the way there to Istanbul, but you also get an amenity kit for flying in economy.
Yeah.
And you'll be getting a video about these amenity kits because the bunny kept hers from 2021.
Yeah.
And we wanted to compare, has it changed in 4 years?
It has a bit.
So we got to Istanbul. Having got off the plane, we were on the hunt for the IGA Lounge because our American Express account, they actually posted us a priority pass card because before that we were given 2 lounge accesses per year, but I don't know whether it's the same rule with the priority pass card. But for the first time in our travelling history, we decided to participate in this little thing if we could find it.
We wanted to experience. We see a lot of people doing it. I'm thinking, well, we have got this opportunity. Let's do it.
Now, there's a choice of 2 lounges to use, and on the website of the airport, which is just breaking in, fantastic. There's 2 for international flight passengers, and
1 domestic.
there's 1 for domestic flights only as well. Now, the concourse of the airport is wide, really wide.
It's a huge airport. The taxiing from as soon as you land to your terminal or your gate, it's just it takes.
Well, it's another bus ride to the terminal, just like Dubai.
Yeah.
But it's when you get in there though, there seems to be a lack of signage, or at least clear signage. The signage itself is blue. You've got to look for blue signs, haven't you, really, everywhere. But when you're looking at the shops and all that, you probably miss them. If you can go to the website of Istanbul Airport and look at the map and get a printout of it or something, it will help, I'm sure. Yeah. But we did eventually find it. You have to go up 2 floors to get to it. As the bunny said earlier, we've seen people use the lounge or a lounge before on YouTube, and there's never anybody there. They just waltz up to the front desk, sign in, oh, we're at the lounge, woohoo, and all this sort of business. When we got there,
queue, massive queue
of about 30 people,
easy,
of all different nationalities with different ways of getting in. Some had got the phone out with a QR code. I can't remember seeing anybody with a priority pass card, to be fair. If you've booked it and you've got your QR code as a booking, then they've obviously paid at least £30 each to access this lounge. So it seems that due to American Express and other ways of getting into these lounges, it's become quite the norm on a travel day for anybody to be able to get into these lounges.
If you've got a good layover, at least minimum 2 hours.
And we had a good 3.
No, 2.5.
We've got to be careful of finding the gates to get to Mauritius. But I didn't film anything as such in there. It was a very, very busy, very packed food and drink area. I didn't want to get in anybody's way. We found seating okay, didn't we? Quite nice seating and all that, and these little booth things that you can get. Nice experience. We had food and drink while we were there. So it's got a great buffet for anybody's taste, really. But I was always looking up at the board because we've sat more or less near the board with all the planes ready to go and just waiting for our plane to appear. Yeah, so when the gate comes up on that board, that's fine. You know you've got to go, because you're best to go when it does, because you do not know where your gate is. We went as straight as soon as it got announced. Although it wasn't that far away, was it? The gate to go.
It wasn't that far.
Yeah, so we were alright. There we were then at the IGA Lounge. What does Bunny think about that?
Fantastic.
Got everything there, even showers. We ought to have filmed the map. We'd never touched the surface of it.
No.
But we had a nice little meal, didn't we? And all that. So we're now going to find A1F, which is our gate. Off we go then.
You get it at the back?
Yes. So the flight to Mauritius. This is the scary bit as far as we're concerned.
I'm laughing, but it's not laughable.
Well, it could have been a lot worse than what it was. And if you've experienced travelling through Dubai as either a destination or as a connection flight to another destination, you know how long it takes to get to the plane from the terminal. So Istanbul is no different. The bus will take you there to, it's a good bus ride to the plane. Well, I knew that our plane was going to be a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. Does that sound familiar? We've got to get some context into this. It's the same sort of plane that crashed in India, and at the time it wasn't clear why it crashed. Don't forget, this was June the 19th. So the bus arrived at the side of our plane, and the plane was totally dark. There are no lights or sign of life on board. So in fact, they'd opened the doors of the bus, and we all stood there waiting, come on then, let's go, sort of thing. Let's get on the plane at least. So we finally did. Obviously lights came on, and we finally did, and we all settled down. But the engines weren't running. I can't remember the engines actually running at the time. The entertainment system was sort of going through the motions, and all the lights were on in the plane and all that. And when they did fire up the engines, it whirred a lot and just boom, we're all the way down again. The entertainment system went off and then it rebooted. And now if you're familiar with the 787, it's got mood lighting, and mood lighting means, you know, soft pastel colours going around the top of the fuselage or around the windows and all this sort of business. But on this occasion we had a bit of a disco going on.
Yeah.
Green, red, blue, white, red, blue, green, yellow, blah blah blah, boom 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 boom, and it was absolutely mesmerising. I thought they were just testing the system or something. It was going crazy, and then everything went into darkness again. In fact, this time it was total darkness, weren't it? The entertainment went off again. I said to the bunny, we're not going anywhere at this rate.
No.
Because if these systems weren't working properly, they're not gonna let us go anywhere. It was obviously electrical, what was going on. Anyway, I said to the bunny, we're going to get off this plane, go back to the terminal. We may have to get a room for the night, or they might find us another plane to fly on, or whatever scenario they're going to throw at us. So the engine started again, and we actually started to move. But then it went boom, boom, cut out completely again, and we thought, well, that's got to be it this time. And we were virtually taxiing, weren't we?
Yeah,
virtually
it went
started
for
to
about
taxi.
a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
We were there thinking, oh, it's hard, you're tired, you want
you just want to get on with it. But then this lorry pulled up at the side of the plane and connected itself to the plane with a chap in the cabin of the lorry with a computer keyboard doing something. They brought the stairs up to the front of the plane for people to get into the front to look at the cockpit, probably technicians again to do that. That's when we just sat back and thought, well, you know, that's it. But the cabin crew were great, weren't they? They were just kept busy, kept themselves busy, doing
giving
bits
us
and
our
pieces.
menus, doing things. We were offered water though, weren't we?
I think
we were
so.
offered water.
We got a couple of messages from the cockpit, from the captain, to inform us of stuff, and then, as the bunny said, finally after 2 hours the lorry left, the stairs went away, the engine started again, and this time they kept running and we taxied out onto the runway. Now at this point I must say there've been no complaints whatsoever from passengers just sitting there. Whether it's a thing that happens a lot in their lives, I don't know, but I mean, I didn't want to film it either. I mean, I got the camera out just that little bit where I looked at the bunny.
It was a bit
the bunny
scary.
was alright about it. You weren't too. It was the continuing saga of on off, which was getting a little bit tiring. I suppose the cabin crew looked a bit worried about whether we'd kick off or not, I don't know. Anyway, we fired up, we taxied out, and off we went. But on takeoff, the plane shook a lot. There were a couple of bangs, I seem to recall, and again, nobody screamed, nobody shouted, oh my god, we're gonna die, or nothing, you know what I mean, nothing at all. But I've been told if you survive the first 90 seconds of a takeoff, then you are okay for the rest of the flight, because, well, they said that they just put it into autopilot and it takes you wherever you've got to go. But I mean, I think there's a little bit more to it than that, but
Oh God, yeah.
that's that threshold of 90 seconds, and then you should be okay for the rest of the flight. So obviously this is how it all went, and obviously as well it was a bit iffy, a bit frightening, a bit nerve-wracking to start with, but
we all settled down.
We all went
calmed down. Yeah. Food was served. We had a good.
We got food, if I may. We kept the menu. Can you remember what we had, Bun?
I had a hummus, I think. Though.
Yes, there's hummus with Turkish style kidney beans.
I like that.
And obviously there's a Turkish and an English side of the menu.
And then I had pasta.
You had the pasta?
Yeah.
So did I have meatballs
I
then?
think you had meatballs.
I think I had the meatballs there. And
chocolate.
everybody had white chocolate mousse. So, and then before we landed in Mauritius, it was obviously breakfast, wasn't it? Because it was that late. So it says here you got a yogurt, cheeses with a bit of salad, and then cheese and tomato omelette. The mushrooms were a bit iffy, probably about 3 or 4 mushrooms. And then it says smoked turkey. I can't remember smoked turkey.
Yeah, it was bacon. Their bacon.
Oh right, it was right. Yes, it's like a bacony thing. Yeah.
Then the best bit is what I like with Turkish Airlines. They serve warm bread.
Oh yeah, the bread.
To die for. You don't get the cold breakfast that you get on Air France. Cold little roll you've got to open. Oh no, thank you. But that was delicious.
Yeah.
Can't fault the crew.
No, I mean, hats off to them really, because they gave us a good flight. I mean, now we know why the Air India plane did come down, and it bears no reflection on what Turkish Airlines were trying to put up with that night. They did a fine job, and when we got to Mauritius, everything was sort of like okay, normal.
The long haul flight of the morning, they were already there. People already checked in, and it wasn't too bad.
We got picked up by one of the family members, and then we went back to the house for a quick greeting and all that.
Oh no, yes, for the house, yeah.
And then they took us around to the apartment for the first time.
We settled down, we had a shower, freshen up, nice cup of tea, and then we rested for an hour.
Your family got us a bit of a hamper for our... Mind you, we gave them a list of things to buy from a supermarket to get us started. That was all the nice settling in, and it was great to have that space.
Yeah, it was
and
really
you'll
nice.
find about that space in the next video. So join me again in the next video where I take you around the apartment and give you a good tour of it. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the rest of the series, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.